Hey, my dudes and dudettes. Welcome to the program. I just wanted to recommend to you guys really quickly a great movie if you're looking for a scary movie. Early 90s, John Carpenter made a movie called In the Mouth of Madness. In the Mouth of Madness, where Sam Neill, who you might know from Jurassic Park, the doctor, the very smart doctor, not Jeff Goldblum, the other guy. It's about him, Sam Neill, enters a world of insanity and nonsense and creepiness. So if you want to check that movie out, go check it out. Or if you want to just see that premise, you can watch this video. So here we go. Let's let the madness begin. This guy's name is Steven Crowder. He's a YouTube lunatic who's still on YouTube. And I think he's still monetized and all that stuff, which honestly, I don't believe that anybody should be usually deplatformed, but oh man, this gets close. Here we go. And he's talking about Michigan here in the beginning.
Pennsylvania, and then ending on Michigan, because both myself and, of course, in third chair today from Compound Media, Dave Landau, we're both Michiganders.
Yes, we are. Hello, everyone.
And you're the whitest man in Detroit.
That's correct.
The last one, I hear.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the last one. Well, there's two.
The last one without a
There can
beard
only be
and a
one.
beanie and a coffee shop. Detroit is nothing but criminals with tear tattoos and hipsters. And the hipsters, I mean, it's very short-lived. It's a short. They recycle them very quickly. Like, I'm going to go in and make a difference. And then there's an epidemic of hipster rape. Surprise!
So, Detroit, which he's talking about there, is the one city in the country that's most populated by African Americans. And he's saying it's filled with criminals with tear tattoos, and hipsters go to live there and they get raped. It's like the Letterman show, like the banter of the Letterman show between David Letterman and what was the fucking guy who did the music's name? Paul Schaefer. It's like if David Letterman and Paul Schaefer were doing banter, but it was just white power stuff. They were just doing Klan talk the whole time. I mean, there's nothing to debunk right there. That's just straight up. These guys aren't the biggest fans of black people. Nothing to debunk there. There it is. Out in the open on YouTube. By the way, check this out. Let me just reveal this a little bit. I don't know if you could see there at the very bottom. Over 1 million views in one day for this absolute, lowest bottom of the barrel version of humanity. This is an example of the worst instincts of human beings. And it has more views than like any channel on YouTube. Oh boy, man, we are in big trouble. Weird, wild stuff going into old school talk show. Oh, weird, racist stuff. The other thing this guy says, which is, I wonder if these two things are connected. He says Black Lives Matter is a domestic terrorist organization, which is kind of interesting just on its face because Black Lives Matter is not an organization. It is a decentralized political movement across the country and the world, taken up by a huge variety of people. But it's a terrorist organization. Wonder why? Could it have anything to do with that banter up front? I don't know. Over 1 million views. And again, I think I've done a video on this guy before. These are the people I feel the most sorry for. The people who are just like, I just want to make movies. I just want to do editing. This is my passion. And I got to work for an absolute dark money lunatic. A guy who's, Dennis Prager comes over with a bag every day. This is the guy I get. I need a job. So all praise is due to these guys. You're exempt. You're exempt from the critique.
I only do that off camera.
And then Gerald A is here. How are you?
I am well, sir.
I don't care. I
Also incredibly unfunny. Okay, so we're going to get into the vaccine stuff here. This is pretty interesting. The vaccine story itself, very interesting. How he talks about it, stupid and boring. So here we go.
I care about you very much.
Just not.
I lied. I don't like lying to my audience right off the bat. We'll also be
You're a
talking
good guy.
about.
Not a good
We do have some
president.
good news. 2 vaccines now, not just one.
Whoa.
2 vaccines now are available. They're competing 2, and we were told that there would be no vaccines. Here's the thing, and this is a question. I have several questions today. Does anybody out there genuinely believe, when we talk about Donald Trump's mishandling of the pandemic, anyone genuinely believe that Joe Biden would have gotten these vaccines to market faster or as fast? Do you know what got us 2 vaccines before the end of November, which Donald Trump said would happen, and they said was logistically impossible? Cutting red tape and deregulation. Basically, a Disney villain's policies.
Okay, so he goes into another, like, I would say intensely unfunny comedy bit, but let's talk about the, first of all, this claim makes no sense, that deregulation led to the creation of this vaccine. Here, I'll read you, this is pretty much an entire summary of the development of the vaccine, okay? In January of this year, 2020, Chinese scientists published the genetic sequence of the coronavirus. That's a huge step. That's how you start developing the vaccine. Then there was collaboration between scientists across the world to try to come up with a vaccine. This is a quote from one of the scientists in a NPR interview. Part of the reason they were able to finish so fast was a new technique for measuring how well a volunteer's immune system responded to the vaccine. Pei-Yong Shi at the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston developed the technique. He found a way to tag genes in the virus so they light up when the infected cells, when the cells are infected in the lab. Another big thing, a lot of people volunteered to be test subjects to test the vaccines. Here's another quote from that same NPR interview, which I'll put a link for in the description. From boots on the ground, getting these studies done, it's 100% science. And that's been super rewarding. Okay, so in other words, this idea that deregulation, which I'll talk about in a second, it makes no sense. It's how this vaccine got developed so fast is that scientists worked on it. And then the CEO, and just to kind of test the claim that Trump, by the way, Trump had nothing to do with this. Like there's no, this vaccine being developed and it coming to market, zero to do with Trump. And I'll explain why in a second. Here's the CEO of Pfizer, just to get this out of the way. Basically, I gave them an open checkbook. He's talking about the scientist, so that they can worry only about scientific challenges, not anything else, he said. And this should be these people's, like, the right wing's kind of thing. They're just like, ooh, let business do it. But now he's like, no, the government helped. Fucking oatmeal brains. And also, I wanted to keep Pfizer out of politics, by the way. So in this case, again, it's not even the business. I mean, the business gives them some of the resources and gets out of their way. It's science. It's scientists. It's people who care about this stuff and have a passion for science and biology. So he really wants to give credit to Trump for this. Here's the other thing, okay? I remember after 9/11, people were like, George Bush was giving a lot of speeches. He went to the 9/11 Ground Zero and he gave a bunch of speeches. And a lot of people, even non-Republicans, were like, he's doing such a good job. He's out there doing such a good job. Here's the thing. Like, any president could give speeches after 9/11, okay? But it was such a, low bar. Everything's such a low bar. Do you, just think about it from just use a little bit of critical thinking here. Do you think there's any president who wouldn't put funding into getting a vaccine for this virus? Like, does that make any... he's saying, it wouldn't have happened under Joe Biden, which Joe Biden is not president, first of all. But second of all, there's literally no president. You could put a team of 11th graders in there, and they would shoot funding to all these companies, which Pfizer didn't even take any of the money. There's the other company, which I can't remember the name. They took some funding from this, and they're working on a vaccine too. But literally any administration, under any administration, you would have gotten money to these companies. Totally nothing. There's nothing Trump did to help this. He's totally irrelevant. He's just watching TV, eating snacks, which, good for you. But there's absolutely nothing he did for this vaccine. It just doesn't exist. And then as far as regulation in general, this makes no sense in a number of ways. First of all, they do have to go through regulation. They're applying for an emergency use authorization, which is like they have to speed up the process. They have to speed up the process of getting this thing approved and getting it out to the public. This is regulation still. They're going through a regulatory process with a regulatory agency known as the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, which makes sure that our drugs and food don't make our eyeballs fall out and our penises fall off and our vaginas close up. Okay? That's what they're there for. It's regulatory. So he's like, deregulation. I mean, no, he's literally just parroting. He's parroting the same like 1950s, 1960s, the past 50 years of Republican talking points with absolutely no explanation. It's fascinating. Million views though. Million views. Let me see if I can think of a metaphor for this. So him saying that it's deregulation that helped, which it didn't. They're going through the normal regulatory processes, which they should, because we don't want to take dangerous drugs. It'd be like saying that LeBron James is such a good basketball player because the refs don't get in the way too much. That's the full credit goes to the refs because they don't get in the way of LeBron James. That's basically what he's saying, because he wants to give his dear leader, the dude who the people who pay this guy love. He wants to give him full credit. What's amazing is that there's so much BS packed into this show that I'm literally only able to. This video would be like 6 hours long if I went through even like a quarter of this video. So we're 2 minutes and 39 seconds in, and the next one is pretty stupid too. Okay, so this one he's talking about the election recount in Georgia, I think.
Warp speed, what it is versus what Joe Biden wanted to do. But first, you know how yesterday we talked about, and we are covering Nevada and Michigan.
Right.
Nevada and Pennsylvania. Tomorrow is Michigan. But we had to cover this because yesterday we covered Georgia.
Right.
And a lot of people skim over this because it's such a similar story. Where yesterday we talked about how there was a memory card where they found about 2,600 new votes, the overwhelming majority of which were for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They found a second memory card after we had broadcast with another 2,700 votes in Fayette County, Georgia.
Okay, so I looked into this story, and I'm shocked to say that this is not a total conspiracy theory, because usually this guy traffics in just kind of, this is how I feel, this is what I want it to be. But they did find memory cards with additional votes on it. And it did nothing for the election. In fact, let me show you this. Hold on. So as you can see here, he's going back over something that's already kind of done. Michael Jordan certifies Biden as the state's 2020 winner. It's over, bud. It's over. As far as those memory cards, so what happened is kind of interesting. So, his claim is sort of that, like, irregularities, it's a conspiracy. They're trying to swing it for Biden. First of all, it didn't even make a dent in the total count. Still won, as you can see here. But what happened is these voting machines, they could only take up to something like 10,000 votes. And since this was kind of like a record turnout election, it started going over that count in Fayette County. So they had to, these elderly poll workers had to go, and these things are like happening in a library. They had to go and get another memory card to get all the votes. And apparently some of those cards weren't counted on the initial count, but then they got counted in the recount. So there you go. It mostly is because this was a record turnout election, but you could make a case that, look, we need to get better voting machines. And that's about it. There you go. No big conspiracy. no craziness. It's just, they have crappy machines that probably need to be updated. The entire voting system probably needs to be updated, but didn't even make a dent. They caught it on the recount. Goodbye. The other thing that's funny and ironic about this, and of course, I mean, you don't even need to point this stuff out because this channel is a just an open sewer, really. But Trump's whole thing the past month has been trying to get votes thrown out. It's like these memory cards. They're not counting all the votes. Meanwhile, Rudy Giuliani's like, we got to count as few votes as possible. And they're like, yay for that. But the memory cards is bad, though, somehow. This guy really should be, his brain should be studied in a laboratory or something. Because just remember what we just talked about in his previous section. He's really upset that some votes didn't get counted. Now we go on to this next section.
Here's another thing. We're hitting Michigan tomorrow, but a board of canvassers in Michigan, this happened last night, refused to certify. They were deadlocked 2-2 to certify the vote for Joe Biden in Wayne County, and then they reversed it. So this is considered a big win. They reversed it. People say, why did they reverse it? So this happened last night. I'll tell you what. We don't know exactly why they reversed it so quickly, and it almost seemed fearfully, but I have a guess.
Monica Palmer and William Hartman will forever be known in southeastern Michigan as two racists who did something so unprecedented that they disenfranchised hundreds of thousands of black voters
Giving
in the city
names?
of Detroit because they were ordered to. Probably.
Okay. So he just said he's giving names? He's giving their names? They're both public officials. Here, you want to see how hard it is to get their names? Check this out. And there's more funny stuff about this. This is just like literally the tip of the iceberg. That's how hard it is to get their names. Chairperson, Monica Palmer, Republican. Vice Chairperson, Jonathan. A member, William Hartman. Those are the two guys he's super upset about giving their name. They're public officials. It's literally on this website oh my God, they're getting doxxed. Their emails are on there too. How does he get away with this, dude? I mean, I wonder who writes his scripts also. Like, does it just come straight out of the, Republican welfare machine? Just like, here you go, bzz, 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 say this. No one should have to pay taxes, except for poor people.
I know, Monica, you think Q told you to do it or some other crazy stuff like that. But just know when you try to sleep...
You hear him in the... This guy's he's ripped into this lady because probably a Q lady. Man, this guy's intense.
Tonight, that millions of people around the world now on Twitter know the name Monica Palmer and William Hartman as two people completely...
Watch this, it gets worse.
...racist and without an understanding of what integrity means or a shred of human decency.
And what that tells us is you, Miss Monica Palmer from Grosse Pointe Woods, which has a history of racism, are deciding to enable and continue to perpetuate the racist history of this country.
Now, I am not trying to encourage violence against the Nazi who lives on 184 Oak Lawn, apartment number 2 in Grosse Pointe Woods.
Oh, weird which side he fell on. I didn't know which way he was going to break on this, given his Black Lives Matter as a terrorist organization and that little white power rant he gave in the beginning. Oh, weird. He's falling on the side of the two white Republicans. By the way, there's 4 people on that board. The 2 people who wanted to throw out the election results for the black part of that county, for this predominantly black county. Guess which color the 2 people were, and guess which color the other 2 people were. I'll give you a million guesses. So he's like shocked by this. Let's just look a little bit into what these people did. By the way, these are public officials. Their information is online. They're both Wayne County. They're both part of the Wayne County Canvassing Board. And so what they did, the election results came in. Wayne County went to Biden, and it's like 86% black. This county, I think, around that. Either way, it's way predominantly black. This is Detroit is in this county. The The results come in, and these two Republicans who were appointed by the Republican Party, the two white people on the board versus the two black people on the board, the two white Republicans they were just like, we're not going to certify it. We're not going to certify it. In other words, another way to put that is all those black votes right in the toilet. That's literally what they did. And this bonehead, so no, there's not even any covering this up. They were straight up, no other way to put it, trying to disenfranchise black voters. That's it. Easy as pie, lickety split. And this, again, just failed comedian, fool, buffoon, right-wing grifter comes on, and he's like, look at this guy calling these people out for doing something that's overtly racist. Let's just be clear about this. That guy, this guy, orange shirt here, this is what standing up for principles looks like. He's like, you're doing something overtly racist. You're trying to disenfranchise a bunch of black voters. It's obvious, it's clear. And he should be mad. This is how progress works in a society. When you see something disgusting like slavery or racism, you say, yuck! That's a good instinct. And this guy's doing the right thing. So this is what you call courage, standing up for your beliefs, having a moral compass. This is just right-wing YouTube idiots sucking down dark money. Ooh, give me that money. Spray it on my butt and my face. Ooh, that's what these guys are. Just the world's biggest losers right here. Let's just look at that. That's what that is. Just failure. Just the human embodiment of failure right there. That's what that is. So just to be clear, what they're saying is like, first of all, let these people disenfranchise black voters, and then don't even call them out for it. Don't even call them out for it, because that's doxing, even though they're public figures whose information is online and they gave no real personal information or anything like that. Just let it slide. Let it slide. Let the worst instincts, just let it slide from public officials who we're supposed to trust with, what's ostensibly the most important right that people have, which is voting for their public officials. And let it slide. With my little cosmetic gun holster right there, living in LA with my little gun holster. So this is how creepy this is. Those two Republicans who wouldn't certify the election, who were trying to disenfranchise all those black voters. First they were like, we're not going to certify it. Then they did certify it because people were like, what are you doing? They got scared. They're like, oh, our little scam. We're caught. So they agreed to certify. Now they're rescinding their certification. Pair of Wayne County Board of Canvassers members file affidavits to rescind certification of election results. Here's another weird little story connected to this. Donald Trump called Monica Palmer, that's one of the people who wouldn't certify, after Wayne County Board of Canvassers meeting. Unbelievable. Here's the last piece of this little puzzle. Trump withdraws federal lawsuit in Michigan citing Wayne County canvasser affidavits. These people are so stupid. They're such dumb, lazy nerds. So these two people, they're going to block a bunch of votes, a bunch of African-American votes, to try to throw the election for Trump. Then they get a little bit of pressure. They're held a little bit accountable for this stupid thing they were trying to do. And then they were like, and then they certify. Then they get a call from Trump, and now they're like, no, we actually don't certify. Just to show how strong these people are in their belief system. And now Trump is using this as his he's withdrawing the federal lawsuit. He's using these two stooges as his little play in Michigan. It's so stupid. These people are profoundly stupid, like all of them. I mean, obviously, Joe Biden and whatever, the whole lot of them is you're just like, oh, these people are dumb. But man, this whole thing is like next level, bottom of the barrel stupid. Man, oh man. And of course, these guys are These guys are there to lap it all up. Oh man. This is what I gotta do to get 1 million views? Do a white power show with some nerd in a bathrobe? Unbelievable.